Today, the #1 Valkyrie is answering your most important questions. All right, first question. Stevie Ray wants to know your thoughts on the new Valk Ledge Peak movement tech that is in Moki's movement tech list. Have you used it yet, and when will you try it if you haven't used it yet?
I've actually never heard of that movement tech, but I'll definitely check it out and probably try it out.
All right, Zertex, being a Valk main, what are your thoughts on movement, wall jumps, mantle jumps, super glides, etc.? Since Valk has her jetpacks, I feel like she is limited in some movement tech.
It's still pretty easy to wall bounce on Valkyrie. It's just a little bit harder than other legends. Same with like super gliding and like other movement techs. I would just say it's like a little bit harder to do them, but I guess yeah, she is limited a little bit, but she can still do all the movement techs, or at least most of them. She's just a little bit harder to master movement wise.
Is it all about timing, you think?
100%, yeah. For at least for the super glides and the wall bounces, I'm pretty sure all the movement tech is timing based in Apex, at least, or most FPSs.
Which of those are you utilizing every single game? Like all of those that I just mentioned, or?
Yeah, I would say wall bounce and super glide. At least I'll try to do it every game, yeah. But yeah, it's all about just pressing the buttons at the right time.
All right, Devious, coming from a fellow Valk main, how do you manage your fuel mid-battle?
I mean, I just always try to like leave at least a little bit of fuel, you know, like never like fully run out just in case I need it. But I guess that's the best tip I could give you. Just like try to never like fully run out just in case of emergencies. Like keep yourself a little bit of fuel to get back up on higher. Just use it smartly, you know. If you don't think you'll need it again, then go ahead and use it all.
He also wants to know if you're specifically using it to get away or just willy-nilly when it comes back. Obviously, you just said save a little, but do you really keep track of all the fuel when you get it back?
No, I definitely forget sometimes and I'll run out and just forget, you know. I use it mostly aggressively to like push up on people or grab height to like get a better angle on a team or something. I'll definitely use it to run away as well sometimes, but I'd say mostly aggressively for sure.
All right, and last question from him. What buffs would you give the jetpack if you could?
I would just like to go back to like the old speed, you know? They slowed it down like, what was it, 2 seasons ago or something?
All right, low IQ Justin. Do you think that Valk is still viable in higher ranked lobbies, or has the nerf to her ult and the jets decreased her viability?
No, I would say she's definitely still viable. If you play her like smart, she's definitely still viable.
Have you played a lot of ranked this season at all? I know you're grinding kills right now, so...
Have not played a single game of ranked this season, but I got prepped last season and played nothing but Valkyrie, and she's up there like one of the best legends in ranked for sure, in my opinion.
Polarity wants to know, how do you always try to improve on Valkyrie, and what ways do you push yourself?
Most of what I work on right now is just like gun skill, really, like obviously game sense as well, but like game sense comes from just like playing the game, you know? So what I've been working on recently is just recoil control. Like I'll sit in the range for like 30-40 minutes before I get on sometimes and just shoot at the targets in the firing range and try to improve my recoil control. A lot of people like don't do because they just don't want to take the time to do is just sit in the range and try to get better at practicing recoil, you know?
Samuel wants to know, he's been playing Valk in ranked this season for good movements and easy rotations. Any tips on when to use her tactical, and if her passive during fights is smart or an easy way to die if using her passive?
It could be both. It could be an easy way to die. It could be smart. You just have to use it smartly. I'd say the best tip I can give you for that is like just watching good Valkyrie streamers or like YouTubers and trying to learn like how they use her passive, or just the more you play, obviously the better you'll get with her passive. You just have to be smart with her passive. And her tactical, personally, I never really liked it that much, especially since they nerfed it recently. I like it even less now, so I don't use it that often, but I don't like using it in buildings because I'll get stunned by my own fucking tactical a lot. It's hard to like be super precise with her tactical too, especially since they nerfed it. It's even less precise now, so you just have to like look in the direction of like where you want to stun and just hope for the best.
All right, so Nate wants to know, do you think Valk's ult should be able to go higher? You were talking about this a little before, and should Valk's tac stun more than it does already?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think it should be reverted back to the old ultimate for sure. I think that was not necessary, especially for like, I mean, for ranked unpub, it's not good. Like there's some rotations that you used to be able to do like over mountains and stuff that you can't do anymore. I just feel like it was not necessary for the ult for sure. And the missiles I never really liked. Like I said earlier too, I feel like 25 damage is more than enough. Just feel like they should be more accurate. That's it. But 25 damage for a stun is more than enough for sure.
Yeah. All right. Pez wants to know, who would you main if Valk was never added to the game?
I didn't really have a main. I played pretty much every single movement legend and like Lifeline in Bangalore as well. Almost 30k on Loba, 32k on Wraith, 15k on Pathi almost, and 6k on Bangalore, 6k on Lifeline, and that's about it. Like almost 10k on Horizon. That's about it, other than Valk. So yeah, I'd probably just still be playing whoever I felt like playing, all the movement legends for the most part.
What was like the main reason you started playing Valk? Did you have that like growth in your mind when you started up the kill grind?
Yeah, like when Loba came out in season 5, I tried to go for number 1 Loba, and I was in the top like 3, top 5 for the first like month or 2 of the season, and then I just gave up and kind of got burnt out on pubs a little bit. Went to play Call of Duty for like a few months, and then came back to Apex afterwards. And I decided I wanted to go for number 1 again when Valkyrie came out, because it was another movement legend. Yeah, I ended up just sticking to Valkyrie because I really liked her.
All right, this was the question I was talking about earlier from QWNZ. Wants to know what the best way to push a team, knowing that you stunned either 1 or 2 players on the team with your tack. Is it best to push passively or aggressively?
That is very like situational. It really depends on like what their armors are, like very situational. So yeah, I would just say like use your own judgment and decide if it's a good idea to push up or not. Like obviously if you stun 2 of them and they're both like holding hands and they both have like 2 purples, or like a red and a purple, or even a blue and a purple, and you only have like a blue armor and you're by yourself, like you probably shouldn't push that, you know, because the stun does not last that long. Like you don't have time to push up and fry them while they're still stunned. Not anymore. It only lasts like, I don't know how long, but definitely not long enough.
The whole situation would be different. Let's say if you knocked one and then you stun the other.
Yeah, then you probably want to push up because you don't want to let them res for sure. But at the same time, if you're by yourself, you don't want to push up too aggressively or like too stupidly, because especially if you're by yourself, you know, you don't want to just get fried, team shot by both of them and just die because you didn't want them to get the res, because then you don't even get the kill at the end of the day, you know.
Royce Goldschmidt wants to know, how do you navigate Valk ult landings? When so many team fights go on in smaller circles, I find myself often just picking a random spot in circle instead of being able to figure out the best area available. Any tips on choosing the best landing spot?
I struggle with that myself too sometimes. Like it's hard to know what a good landing could be, but you can always like not solo queue in if you're playing with friends. Like they can also ping and like try to, you know, find somewhere that you guys could land. But once again, that's like very situational and like your own personal judgment. But like obviously try to land somewhere that you're not gonna get fried as soon as you land. Obviously, you know, like you're gonna be scanning all of them as Valkyrie unless they're like inside or hiding behind something or something. So you should have a pretty good idea of where you could land if you're not solo queue, and just ask your teammates to help you out and ping if they see somewhere that they think is safe. And yeah, I don't really know how to answer that question any better than that.
Actually plays is someone that used to main Valkyrie and stopped because of how bad they think her heirloom is. What would you rate her heirloom S to F?
I think it's pretty good. I think it's up there for like one of the best in the game for sure, in my opinion. Definitely not the very best one, I don't think, but it's up there for sure. I'd give it a solid A for sure, if not S.
What do you think is the best one right now?
I only have Wraith and Valkyrie, and I have Heirloom shards just sitting there debating which one to get. So I don't know. I think Loba's is pretty cool. I think Pathi's is cool, even though it has no animations. I think it looks nice, the boxing gloves. I think Bangalore's is cool. I think Octane's is cool. I think there's a lot of nice ones that I don't have. So I really can't say for sure, but I think I like Valkyrie's for sure.
All right, Maker is learning how to play Valkyrie. They want to know when they should be using the ultimate. We talked about ranked a little. Let's talk about pubs.
World's Edge, by the time you're done clearing out capital, like I land cap like pretty much every single game on World's Edge. Sometimes I'll go lava siphon if there's more people there, but mostly just cap. And I usually I'll clear out all of cap, and then if I'm looking for people in cap for more than 20-30 seconds and I don't find anyone, after I already have my ult, that's when I'll pop it, usually on top of streamer building or construction building. So yeah, if you get your ult, you don't know where the people are at, you don't hear any shots, you don't know where the people are at, I'd say just pop it instantly and try to scan the team in cap, or rotate to lava siphon, whatever floats your boat. And for other maps like Storm Point, Broken Moon, Olympus, KC, like as soon as you get your ultimate, like if you don't see any teams, just instantly pop it. Try to get on high ground if there's a high ground close by and just pop it. You'll be able to get higher up in the air if you're higher up when you ult, you know? Some people don't know that. And also if you're playing with a recon on your team, whatever you're doing, if you're playing with a friend and you're Valkyrie and he's playing a recon legend like Seer, Bloodhound, or Vantage, or Crypto, that's all of them, I think. It's always good to like hold on to your ult until your recon legend scans the beacon to see where everyone's out on the map, and then you pop your ult so you know where to go, you know, to get more people.
All right, your Dark Void wants to know hold or toggle for Valk's jetpacks.
100% hold. Never play toggle. But
do you have a Elite or Scuff controller, or?
Right now, I'm just playing with a PS4 controller with the Sony back button attachment on a PS5. But as soon as I fly back to my girlfriend's house on Wednesday, I'm probably gonna just go to GameStop and buy a PS5 controller. And I already have like these paddles I ordered for the PS5 controller off Amazon. They're like Gamer Extreme paddles. You have to like take apart like the whole PS5 controller, like install the paddles inside there, and it's pretty complicated, but my girl did it for me, and like it took her like 10 minutes. It was really easy for her. So, but the problem is that the controller like started getting stick drift instantly after, so now I have to go back to my PS4 controller. But as soon as I go back there, I'm gonna buy a new PS5 controller so I can start playing on the PS5 roller again, because I definitely like the PS5 controller better. The analog sticks just feel better to me. I feel like it's easier to like aim and control recoil on the PS5 controller rather than the PS4.
Do you have your jetpacks bound to the paddles?
Yeah, left paddle is my jetpack, and I just recently changed my right paddle to loot and like reload and like armor swap and loot instead of before my right paddle was my tactical, but now I recently changed it to loot instead a few weeks back.
So let's say someone doesn't have paddles, they might have to use toggle unless they play claw, correct? Paddles makes it so much easier to use the hold.
I used to play without paddles when Valkyrie first came out, and I was grinding, and I was able to I was the first Valkyrie to hit 1,000 kills and like 2,000, etc. without paddles. I was just using a default PS4 controller without any paddles. I wasn't even playing claw.
You still had it on hold?
Yeah, I would say hold for sure. Unless you really can't do hold, and go toggle, but I'd say hold is definitely better.
KOS Diego wants to know who you think combos best with Valkyrie.
If you're kill grinding, Loba is always good for loot, you know, if you need like ammo or a battery or two, you know. And also a recon. That's really all. Like you want, if you're playing duos, maybe just a recon, no Loba unless you want a Loba. And if you're playing trios with two friends, Valkyrie, Loba, and any of the recons, maybe Seer, Bloodhound, Crypto. Recons are huge for kill grinding, so you can like scan and see where everybody's at. A very good addition to the season, in my opinion. Maybe Bloodhound would be the best one out of all of the recons, though, because of that White Raven buff. You know, like you can find so many people now with Bloodhound. If you pop his ultimate, it leads you to a team. If you find like one of the white birds like laying around the map, it leads you to a team. So yeah, I'd say Bloodhound.
Okay, last question. Arshia wants to know how they can earn a 4K and 20 bomb on Valkyrie.
I mean, if you're trying to get a 4K, it's 100% easier to do that solo queuing. Probably solo queuing duos, unless you'd really rather do trios. Like, I'd say trios is harder. It takes more skill than duos if you're trying to go for like a 4K. I mean, if you're trying to get a 4K and a 20 in the same game, you just have to play very aggressive. And if you need to farm the last team, then farm the last team for a little bit. Play super aggressive and try to get the 20 and worry about the 4K afterwards. You know, you can farm the last team for like 1,000 damage at the end and get your 4K. I'd say 20 bomb is much harder than getting a 4K nowadays, in my opinion.
I think a lot of people would agree with that statement.
If you're trying to get a 20, bro, on Valkyrie especially, I mean on any legend, really just play as aggressive as you can. And unless you have a friend that's like willing to like just give you every kill and just spoon feed you, like you're better off doing no fill probably rather than fill, unless you feel confident in like stealing kills rather than getting your kills stolen, then maybe do fill. But the key is playing as aggressive as you can, not really looting much other than the death boxes of people that you kill, unless you need to. Maybe like hit a few bins real quick that are on the way, you know, but always be on the move, always be looking for kills and know where to rotate. look back, like before the game even starts, like when you're in the ship, look back and see where most of the lobby lands, so you have an idea of where to rotate and where to like Valk ult later in the game when you get it, you know?
What else you got for us? Anything?
If you're kill grinding, always tell your homies and like you yourself want to be looking out for ultimate accelerants on the floor, death boxes and stuff. Ultimate accelerants are huge. If you pop it when you're at 65%, you'll get straight to 100. So popping an ult excel gives you like 35% towards your ult. So I usually wait until I'm at like 60, 63, 65 to pop it. So I just instantly get it and pop my ult, you know? I feel like that's smarter. But yeah, ultimate accelerants are huge. The more Valk ults you get in the game, the more chances you get at finding people. So ultimate accelerants are like gold when you're playing Valkyrie and kill grinding.